to those of you who are new to my channel, my space, my corner of the world, Fueled by Faith is an opportunity for us to chat with women from all walks of life about how they are living and leading lives that are based around faith-based decision making versus not necessarily like religion or anything like that, but just taking risks versus just living life through the lens of fear. And so many of us do make fear-based decisions. So today I have Emily. She is actually with Meatless Meals, as you can see there. I love your sweater, by the way. It's totally sweater season.
Thank you.
But she is a plant-based food creator as well as a nutrition and fitness coach. She's very passionate about helping people reach their health goals through a plant-based lifestyle, and also as well as their nutrition and their fitness. Emily loves cooking nutrient-dense foods, as she showcases how easy they can be. I've watched a lot of the recipes that you have again on your Instagram, and I'm ready for you to blow up at this point, right? Like, I'm ready for you to blow up. Your content is absolutely exceptional. And the weird thing about Instagram is like, it feels like there are so many people waiting to be discovered. And so I just want you to know that your content's fantastic, but she really does a great job of showcasing delicious meals that are also really health benefiting. So I think you guys are all going to benefit from chatting with her. And we're going to be picking Emily's brain today to talk about how living and leading a healthy lifestyle through the holidays can really benefit you and how you can make some of those healthy choices. So thanks again, Emily, for being here. And thank you to everybody who's joining. I see a lot of friends from like my childhood. So hello to all of you and friends that I've met here on Instagram. So thank you to all of you for just joining the live today. And thank you, Emily, for giving us some of your time.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm glad. This is good timing, obviously, with Thanksgiving around the corner. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's jump right in. Can you tell us, like, give us a little bit of information around like your background and like growing up, like what the holidays meant to you? Do you have a favorite holiday? And if so, like, were there any foods that kind of corresponded with you celebrating those holidays?
Yeah, so I'm going to go way back. I actually became a vegetarian at a pretty young age. So when I was 12 years old, I decided to give up meat. And that was not a typical choice for a 12-year-old. And some of my family, my sister and my mom decided to as well. So that was nice to have that support system. But that was kind of like during a time where it was kind of seen as odd. So it was kind of a weird, most people were like, what, around the holidays, a lot of the holidays are centered around meat. So it's kind of like, oh, what, you're not eating, you're just eating side dishes. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like an odd territory. I think as I've progressed and learned to cook, it's become a completely different story. But growing up, just kind of navigating the waters. Obviously, I had the support of especially my immediate family. But I know like my mom's side of the family was very supportive. My dad's side of the family, I remember one time my grandma, she was like, just sneak some meat in there. I won't tell anyone. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of misunderstanding and people don't quite understand, which actually has driven me to where I'm at now, in order to help people understand the decisions behind going vegetarian or vegan or even just experimenting with it. As far as favorite holidays, honestly, I really love Halloween, which is not really a holiday that's based off of and maybe that's partially why. Mm-hmm. I just love the fun of the costumes and everything. But I know with a lot of people in the holidays, food is, the main focus of getting together with family, enjoying time with one another and trying to, have all these feasts and stuff for the friends and family to enjoy.
I love that. Growing up, I couldn't really I wasn't allowed to trick or treat or anything like that. It's kind of funny that you say Halloween though, being like a nutritionist because of candy, but I like that you focus more so on the dressing up side of things and how fun that can be versus the food component, because I do feel like as a society we get comfortable with, well, it's all about food, right? But there is a certain element of every holiday that we can take and focus more so on doing other things, like creating new traditions that don't focus so much on food, even with something like Thanksgiving. So
yeah, I completely agree. And actually, food is so important to me. My day-to-day, because I was kind of thinking about that a little bit more today. My day-to-day, food is the majority of what I'm thinking about. Honestly, I'll have a week in advance. I'm I know what I'm making because food is just so exciting to me. But then holidays are different. It's not which is really weird. But every other day, that's the only thing on my mind is food.
That's actually a healthier balance, in my opinion, because then you won't, super indulge. So, question for those who are out there thinking like Thanksgiving's coming. I really don't want to be having this conversation. I actually ran a poll on my stories. I think it was yesterday, asking folks like, do you think it's okay to take a break for the holidays? Like, do you take a break from your health plans, whether it's working out or eating clean around the holiday time? Like, do you give yourself a break? And a lot of folks actually voted that they do give themselves a break from working out and eating during that time. So are there any like specific foods that folks should be thinking about indulging in when they're sitting around the Thanksgiving table and starting to celebrate with their friends and family? Should they be reaching for a second helping of something? And if so, what should they be reaching for, Emily?
I think the important thing is, I mean, we all want to have fun and celebrate and stuff, and it's totally fine. Like, I eat unhealthy sometimes too. I will have an Impossible Burger or whatever, and Oreos are vegan, obviously not healthy, but it's okay to indulge. I think it's just finding the balance and also remembering why, like, the root of food is to provide nutrition for us. So if we're just eating a bunch of buttery, greasy food all day, we're not going to feel good. And our body, we only get one body. So I know it's just one day, but maybe starting the day with a green smoothie or having some fruit. I know usually people tend to eat a little bit later in the day. So maybe starting breakfast with a plate of fruit. And I know some people are like, that sounds lame. But, we still want to provide our body with nutrients. And at the end of the day, a lot of times people are really sluggish and feel bogged down from eating all that. So we still want to give some nutrients to our body. So I'd say indulge, have fun, don't stress yourself out about it, but still keep in mind that we want to provide our body with the good nutrients that help us, live a healthy life and feel good.
Absolutely. And so I'll probably be reaching for more vegetables when the time comes. I do feel personally that like every year around Thanksgiving, I just don't eat, which probably isn't the best. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like, for those who are like, I'm just not going to eat all day and then I'll maybe enjoy a big meal at Thanksgiving dinner. What do you think about that? Is that okay for us to do? Sorry, I'm giving you this question on the fly too.
Oh, no,
if you've watched my past interviews, I always give a few like flyers. So,
I like to be on my toes. That's fine. I mean, there's pros and cons, intermittent fasting, there's lots of benefits there. I know I've done both in the past. There's some times where I won't eat and I kind of feel weak just because I'm used to eating all the time. I just think it's a good opportunity to get something healthy in. So know your body, but if you're not eating and then you're just going to go hard and eat too much, finding that balance. And we have Thanksgiving and then Christmas, so we can trial and error and see what works best. But also eating good stuff ahead of time. But like your main question, which I kind of didn't even answer.
It's okay.
When you're actually eating for the holidays, definitely try to load up on any of the plants that are like the health. And I was thinking about this earlier as well. A lot like mashed potatoes aren't like potatoes themselves aren't bad, but when you're adding in the butter and the cream, that's what makes them bad. So I would go for plants that are in as like the least amount of processed form as possible, which I know is not typical for most people's, meals and what they have on the dinner table. But trying to find providing some kind of nutrients, reaching for those plants. Beans are great, whole grains, fruits, vegetables. I know that's a little different than the slathered in butter potatoes and, bacon and the green beans and stuff, but still trying to treat the body nice and enjoying, time with family and indulging too.
I love that. And I'm checking the chat here. Lisa actually said, drink all the water. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, drinking tons of water will flush out a lot of the icky stuff too. So that's a really good point.
Definitely, yeah. And instead of grabbing the pop or whatever, having the water, just creating some kind of balance.
I love that you said pop. I can tell you're from the Midwest.
Soda pop.
So I know you talked about a little bit about like your childhood, since we're still kind of there. Like, you said that you sort of switched over at the age of 12, which is fairly young. Like, was there anything that sort of triggered that decision? And then also, I don't know if you mentioned it. I have like nursing brain, so I might not remember if you do say something. You might have mentioned it, but like, what sort of triggered that decision, and how did like nutrition, what did nutrition look like for you growing up?
When I was 12, I actually went to the Indiana, so yes, Midwest, Indiana State Fair, and I saw the animals, and I've always had a heart for animals, so I just kind of drew that connection. I was like, I don't want to eat them anymore. So that was just the decision that did it for me. It was from an ethical standpoint, and also my grandma on my mom's side had been a vegetarian for 30 some years, so I always had that inspiration there. So I became a vegetarian, definitely not a healthy vegetarian. That slowly, when I got into working out, like I joined a gym a little over 10 years ago. I think it was a kind of a progression. I joined the gym. I started becoming more health conscious, really liking what I was doing physically, and then realizing I needed to fuel my body better. So I was very self-taught. Growing up, my family wasn't super health conscious. I remember like pre-vegetarian, my dad would make like fried bologna sandwiches. Not a huge influence of healthiness from family, but I just became interested at kind of self-taught. And then actually about 3 years ago, when I decided to go the meatless meals route and open up my own business, I took a plant-based nutrition course, and that just like sealed the deal for me because I was already heading in that direction. But I'm like, now I rarely ever cook with oil, full plant-based.
Wow.
Like, I'll occasionally have some junk food. I'd say it's kind of like an 80-20 balance of, 20% of the time I'll have some junk food. So still have some fun there. But it's definitely been a progression, and it's very self-taught. And there's just so many powerful resources out there that you can learn about nutrition. So I've been very grateful from that perspective.
I love it. So another random flyer. What do you think about avocado oil?
All oil is very high in fat and doesn't provide, because you're stripping out all the nutrients, so you just have the oil there. So I mean, if you're going to use it, I would say sparingly. As far as oils go, I just try to keep away from them. Sometimes I'll cook with vegan butter, which is not any better than any of them. It's just candy in my fridge, so I'm not advocating for that, because that's just made with a bunch of oils too. But I just, in general, especially from a heart health standpoint, trying to keep the oils to a minimum.
Okay, that's good. I'll probably have to chat you up after this because I have so many questions around the oil standpoint. So I know you talk about becoming like a nutritionist and like studying, taking a course, but like, was there anything that like inspired you to stay on that path and consider like coaching and fitness and all the things that you're doing from like a standpoint of like, you do a lot of like excellent work around like visual food. Like, I mean, I'm always hungry after looking at your page. I could just eat and go on your page. And I've said this, there's a few folks I've had on here that like really have their like visual components of like food photography and videography to a T. So, and you're one of them. So what kept you on this path, and what continues to like keep you going down this path?
It's an interesting story where meatless meals first came about. So when I was in college, I think it was my sophomore year of college, I had a project. So I'm a communications major, and we had to like come up with a business and promote it and then present it to the class. So we had like, however we wanted to promote it. And I made up a business called Meatless Meals. And so I came up with a Facebook page, and I made some videos. And actually I was just looking at my first video the other day, and oh my gosh, it's awful.
We had this, so I'm a comms major too, which is crazy.
Oh, that's
we had the exact same assignment. I went to like the University of Central Florida online, and it was an online course, and literally we had the exact same assignment. The only difference was we had to also partner with like a local business and run their social media accounts, which obviously I didn't learn nearly enough, but I should have really taken that in. But yeah, similar kind of assignment. So I wonder if all the professors, yeah.
That's where it stemmed from. And
that's cool.
Because I like growing up, when I became vegetarian at such a young age, people are always like, well, what do you eat? Like so many times I would get the question, what do you eat? And I'm like, I mean, I was very intimidated as a, quiet little kid. I'm like, just try to avoid it. But then I kind of like grew into like this, that just describes me. You know what I mean? It's just like I connect so much with it. So with the Meatless Meals project, I ran a Facebook page, presented it to my class, and I'm like, I really like this. So I just continued on. I wasn't posting too much, but I posted every so often. And then flash forward to about 3.5 years ago, I became very unhappy with my job. And it was actually at a video production company. So that's where my skill set that I use now because I did marketing, photography, and videography. So I definitely learned a lot there, but I became very unhappy and I was like, I kind of want to go my own route. And I'm like, this meatless meals idea is like a passion project of mine. I have no clue how I'm going to spin it into something that, you know, fuels my passions and makes me money, but let's just try it.
Incredible. And
So
how many years ago was that, Emily?
that was about 3 years ago.
Wow. So you've been on this journey since then.
Yeah, yeah. And and it was so great. So like the Facebook page I made for the for the class back then, it was like right as I decided, I'm like, I think I'm gonna go for it. The Facebook, I got locked out of it, and I had started to grow a little bit of a following, and I got locked out of it. I spent so long trying to get back into it, and I couldn't, so I had to restart. But it's like, it's fine.
My gosh.
Things happen. For some reason, I wasn't supposed to continue that one on, but I think I learned a lot from it. But yeah, that was about 3 years ago, and it's been a trial and error. I know I want to help people, and then also, you know, I have my online cookbook. I absolutely love cooking, so it's like I just have been. I'm still figuring stuff out. I think as a business owner, we're always figuring stuff out. But I'm just putting all of my love and passions into, you know, coaching and my recipe collection and everything else I'm doing.
I love it. I'm so proud of you. Truly, like that's huge. Okay, so I only have you for 13 more minutes. So we're going to do like a speed round. For those who are listening, if you have questions for Emily, this is the time to drop them in the chat or use the question feature. But I'm going to run through these questions really fast because I really want to like keep us on time and I don't want to take any extra time from you. So we'll run through these fast. Do you have any recommendations of food replacements that are lower in carbs and sugar that you've come across? And if so, what should folks reach for in place of the holiday cookies? Because I'm looking forward to the holiday cookies.
The cookies. I think as far as like carbs go, staying away from like simple carbs. So that's like the super processed, like white bread and stuff, and going towards like the complex carbs. So whole grain, sweet potatoes, even potatoes. I think just drawing that distinction between like the processed ones that aren't going to give you benefits versus the complex ones. And also as far as like cookies and stuff, there are a ton of healthy desserts. Like I've made chocolate pie out of tofu before. I know that sounds bizarre for people that don't experiment with tofu. Like that's disgusting. I will post a picture soon because it's delicious. Dates, maple syrup, agave, coconut, palm sugar, all of those things are good ways to more naturally sweeten treats. So it's just a matter of making the cookies in a different way than you normally would when you load in the butter and the sugar and stuff. So it's just a different approach to cooking it, I guess, or baking.
What if they don't want to though?
That's, I mean,
what's the alternative for those who like make their cookies? It's grandma's recipe. We're not touching grandma's recipe. She passed away 5 years ago. This isn't me. I mean, well, it is kind of me. My grandma did pass away many years ago, but I'm just saying, I was using a hypothetical, but it became actual.
Wait, I would say moderation.
Oh, wait. Okay.
If all else fails and it's like, I want to just try and be mindful, you know, don't scarf a bunch of them down. Just try and maybe, okay, I'm just going to have 2 or something. You don't have to cut them out completely, but just trying to, if you're not going to make the healthy version, which I understand, then just try to keep it in moderation.
Okay, great. Any dinner choices we should be adding double servings of at Thanksgiving?
Again, like I said before,
the veggies.
Yeah, anything wise. I know like beans are not typically something that we'd have at Thanksgiving, but they're so good for us. So, you know, ways to sneak in those whole grains, the beans, fruits.
So what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I guess I didn't even have that as one of the questions with it being next week. Like what's on your menu? First of all, I don't want to assume you celebrate it, but if you do, what are you planning to make?
This year, actually, I saw it from another gal on Instagram. It was like some tofu steaks on top of mashed potatoes. I like to make mashed potatoes without the butter. I actually use like veggie broth and garlic powder, onion powder. I know that doesn't sound like it would hit the same as normal mashed potatoes, but really, really good. So I want to do like a bed of mashed potatoes with those tofu steaks on top and some nice gravy. Also, and I think it was a couple years ago, I made my orzo chickpea soup, and it had a creamy broth. There's coconut, like canned coconut milk in it. So it's like a kind of a whitish broth. It kind of reminds me of gravy. I might make that again too, but we'll see. Kind of still, I know I said I always think about food, but I'm like, there's so many options. I'm still kind of narrowing it down because I also want to do like a plant-based mac and cheese, but
Okay. Plant-based mac and cheese is actually it's one of my favorites. I mean, you know that I've kind of transitioned in between. I'm in a weird space where it's like similar to you going to the fair and saying I'm not going to eat animals anymore. I'm in this place of like balance. Like maybe I won't eat animals all the time. I know that sounds terrible,
everyone's
but
different. Yeah.
but for me, after being pregnant and experiencing that, and then just having some of the challenges around not eating meat personally, like, but there is a moral. I had a friend over earlier and she's like, how is it with you eating meat now? How are you navigating that? And I'm like, I mean, it's a journey. I will say that. Like for me, I look at it and sometimes it's meat and on a plate and sometimes it's an animal. You know, it is an ethical component. So I'm not opposed to doing mac and cheese again in a plant-based way just because it is so delicious. And honestly, in some of the ones that I've made in past Thanksgivings, it tastes almost the exact same.
Yeah.
To be honest, like
Incredible.
with nutritional yeast and coconut milk, I mean, it just takes it to a whole nother level and you can get it just as creamy. Now you have me thinking about it. My husband's probably going to say, oh my gosh, this woman.
I know. I have chili and cornbread waiting for me. That I'm like, oh, I can't wait. But yeah,
so that's cool.
I'm surprised at how, like, when I first went, ditched the dairy and I tried, I'm like, oh, wow, this is actually good. It's impressive the things that plants can be transformed into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you ever have dairy or anything, or are you just 100% no dairy, no meat, nothing?
100%. When I started meatless meal, like that 3 years ago, when I did my nutrition course, then it was like, okay, it's got to, and it was hard. I think cheese, like I talk to a lot of people and they say cheese is harder than meat. And that was the last thing. Cause I gave up eggs a while and then it was like, cheese is the last thing, but your taste adjusts. So it was just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And now vegan cheese, like if I make pizza and I'll put like vegan cheese, if I'm not making my own, it's like, this actually is really good. Your taste changes, so it's good.
So you make your own vegan cheese too then?
Occasionally, yeah. Sometimes I'll buy some from the store and it's impressive how far they've come. Again, that's not like a health food. There's oils and other processed ingredients, but occasionally I'll have it and it's really cool to see the different products that are out there now.
Awesome. Okay. Sorry, I got us totally off track. And then yes, so this is a good question. We haven't answered it. What are some of your favorite like holiday swaps and recipes? So for example, like swapping milk for coconut milk or white sugar for coconut sugar. Like what are you swapping out?
Milk?
Like,
oh, go ahead.
You just talked about oils a lot too. So I do want to touch on that. Like what are you using in place of oils? Like do you use avocado or like what are you using in place of like oils and sugars and milk?
Depends. So like with oils, like if I'm sauteing, I'll just put a little bit of water or a little bit of veggie broth or honestly nothing at all. And it's totally fine. Or if I'm putting like roasting something in the oven, I usually just leave it without anything or just a couple splashes of water. Sometimes if it's like a sweeter thing, I'll brush like plant-based milk on it. But it's surprisingly easy to cook. I guess with baking, like banana, avocado, applesauce, there's different things that you can replace it. Every so often, like garlic bread, that's hard to, I haven't found a healthy swap for that. But for the most part, there's really good swaps. And like you were saying, milk I think is the easiest to replace because there's so many plant milks out there now. So just making sure that it's unsweetened and without vanilla, because I've made mashed potatoes with vanilla sweet milk and I did not mean to, and they're not good.
They taste terrible. I've done it too by accident. We've made that mistake quite a bit. We still don't drink regular milk. It's just weird to me. But yeah, we still only drink almond milk and I buy like the vanilla version and the unsweetened, like nothing, super plain, not even the original version, literally the unsweetened version where it's nothing in it, because if you add the vanilla to anything,
oh my gosh. Yeah, that's all you
terrible.
Taste. Yeah.
It's terrible.
And I didn't, and that's like, you'd think by now I'd be amazing at reading labels. I still messed up because I'm like, looked at like 3 times, like, how do I make vanilla?
Exactly. So, and then for sugar, what do you swap out?
So I'll use coconut palm sugar sometimes because that's like the same consistency as sugar. It's like grainy, whatever. You know what I mean?
Granulated.
Maple syrup are big too.
Okay. Is coconut what did you call it? Coconut.
Coconut palm sugar. It's just, it comes from coconut, but it's just a
Is it the
more,
same? Is it the brown one? The same thing as coconut sugar? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I,
Okay. That's good
palm,
to know.
what are you talking about?
I'm like, Paul, what? Okay, cool. For those who might not be able to work out during the holidays, maybe they're traveling or they're visiting family or they're working a lot or I don't know. Just what should they be doing to keep their bodies in shape?
I start small, like anything you can do. Our bodies crave movement. So just even if it's 10 minutes, I think some people are like, well, I can't, I can't commit to this. So then they do nothing. Something is better than nothing. Even if it's like occasionally I'll be like, have a really busy, I love my workouts. So I'll get my workouts in, but occasionally it's like, and I'll stretch for 10 minutes. That's better than nothing. I've actually just posted today, I'm doing a Instagram live workout.
I saw that, girlfriend. I saw it.
Your question for this, I'm like, you know what? Let's get moving. So I'm going to
Yes.
do a 30-minute circuit. But there's so many great trainers on YouTube, just popping on a 15-minute, just get moving. If it happens to be warm next week, taking a walk. I mean, in Indiana, probably not, but wherever you guys are, maybe it will be.
Ohio.
Yeah, I thought you were Ohio. But just getting some kind of movement because, it's probably going to be a pretty sedentary day with family and stuff.
Yeah.
So giving your body what it needs, even after you eat, it's always good. In a lot of other countries, they walk after they eat. So just do what you can to get movement in and don't be afraid if it's not like a full go to the gym for an hour. Just do what you can.
Okay. Can I have you for 5 more minutes?
Oh, yeah. You're good.
Okay, real quick. So last question. Thank you. That was a really good tip. And I did see your flyer that you posted. So I'm going to try to watch, even if I'm sitting and eating a cookie while I watch you work out.
I won't judge. I won't know. So.
You won't be able to see me. So,
But man, that plank was hard.
Well, I'm sitting here. I'm just kidding. I might try to join and try and do it because I do want to get moving. I've lost like 40 pounds postpartum, but I still have like a ways to go, Emily, because I had gained like 67. So I've got a little bit of ways to go.
So you're doing it.
Thanks. Thank you. But I do think cutting out some of the oils and sweet treats might help. So someone just asked, I don't know if it was asked, what oils are healthier to cook with? And do you want to touch on that again? I'll let you be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah, I was going to say they're all pretty similar as far as high in fat and they're stripped of their nutrients. So you're just pretty much getting the fat from them. So you think of like an olive and you have the fiber in there, the nutrients, there's the natural oils. But when you strip all of that out and you just have the olive oil, you're missing all of that. And it's going to be high in calories, high in fat, and your body isn't getting all the other good stuff from it. So in general, I mean, not that everyone has to cut out oils. Like that's going to be the healthiest thing, especially when it comes to heart health. But if you can just be cautious of it, it's like eating out is really hard to avoid oils. But when you're at home, it's a little easier. Maybe even just using half as much oil as you would. But I can send you more information maybe to share with your.
Can you? Yeah, I'll put the information that Emily's referencing in my stories after this live. Quick question though, Emily. So you're talking a lot about fats too. Why are fats not good for us? Or like what are they not good for? Like what is the story behind the fats?
Yeah, so fats, I mean, not that we can't have fats. So with the whole food plant-based diet, this is going to sound kind of crazy to some people. So typically what I eat in people that are like whole food plant-based are around like 70% carbs, which a lot of people are like, carbs.
Yeah.
But they're the complex carbs that you're getting a lot of nutrients, a lot of fiber from. And then you're at about 10% of fat and 15, I know my math is probably off, but you get the general idea, 15% of protein. So fat they're just really high in calories. Like in the whole food plant-based world, the foods that are like the fat foods would be avocados, nuts, and seeds. And if you're not trying to lose weight and if you're not like you just had a heart attack type of thing, you're not really concerned. Like I have avocados all the time. My heart is healthy and I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm actually trying to gain a little bit of weight. So getting those extra calories are good. But the typical American is getting like 50% plus of fat. And then they're missing out because fat's not going to have as much fiber, as much as those other nutrients. So carbs as bad of a rap as they get. Carbs are actually where it's at, complex carbs though, not simple ones.
Like sweet potatoes and
yeah, whole grain brown rice, whole grain pasta. Because it's like you can still have pasta. A lot of people are like, you probably don't eat pasta. I'm like, I definitely do with just whole grain, because then you're getting lots of good stuff from it.
okay. This is great. Someone just said, mind blown. Good to know. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Okay, so let's just talk about you, because we've gotten all the freebies just now with all of the information you're providing. Are there any special projects you're working on that you need our support with, or that we should know about so that we can stay tuned and maybe benefit from all the knowledge that you have?
So I mentioned before, I have a cookbook. So instead of, maybe eventually I'll have like a printed cookbook, but I have an online one right now and I update recipes every week. It's called
Wow.
Online Cookbook. So I have that, which is always, I mean, I love cooking. So it's a great place for me to put all my food into one place. Moving forward, I'm kind of thinking of either doing like events or classes. I'm still trying to work it out in my head because I have a million ideas. I just want to reach more people and help more people. And I'm trying to decide how best I can do that, whether that's like local, going to, local places and meeting with people that are struggling, or
Great.
doing online classes. I don't know what that's going to look like. And if anyone has suggestions, please let me know. But I want to put more of an educational component into what I'm doing and reach more people. So we'll
I
see
love
what
that.
do.
I love that. I love it. I'm excited. Well, we're all here for it, and we'll be watching to see what you do next. What are you most excited about as we close out the year? And also, do you have a favorite mantra or quote that you like to live by? Can you share those two things with us?
Yes. I feel like lately I've been doing a lot of personal development, and I've been really connecting with myself. And I feel like that I knew that my dogs are going to bark eventually. Sorry if you can hear them. But I feel growth, and I've gotten to a better place where I feel good and happy, and I'm excited to like share that with other people. I don't know how exactly I will present that to other people. That's something I'm really excited about and feeling good about. And then also with quotes, I love a good quote. I love quotes. That spoke to me with just about every quote. But my third grade teacher, he actually passed away from a car wreck after he had taught me, but he always said, keep your eyes on the prize. And I feel like that's something that's kind of stuck with me. So I feel like whether it's business or life or health or relationships, anything it is, like keeping your eyes on the prize and just staying focused, that's huge. It's like there's so many distractions, and people will set out on one path and then it's like, never mind, and they'll go to another. But keeping your eyes on the prize. I mean, this meatless meals was an idea in my college class however many years ago, and now I'm doing so, you know what I mean? I kept my eyes on the prize. So I think that's huge and can get people pretty far.
That just really that was what I needed to hear personally. And it's weird. Every single person pretty much that I've had on the Fueled by Faith series, they all end up telling their stories, right? Like in the process of just like having these organic conversations, even though they're slightly prepared for, I send you the questions in advance.
Yeah.
But it's still organic because I always have these off the fly like questions. And I always end up hearing more from the person I'm interviewing about their story, and it always connects back to like them taking a risk or like stepping out on faith to do something they're passionate about. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your heart with us and your story, and just how you allowed your life to be led through the lens of faith and not through the lens of fear. So
Thank
we're
you.
happy that you're taking risks.
You're inspiring people and you're helping tell people stories, which is huge too. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who's joined tonight. Honestly, Emily, thank you again for all of your time. And one question. How can people connect with you? So what should we know as far as connecting with you?
I try to be on all of them, all the social media. Instagram and TikTok are my favorite, but I'm also Facebook, Meatless Meal. It's either Meatless Meals or Meatless Meals Emily for Instagram. Obviously, you can see it now. I think TikTok, it's Meatless Meals Emily. But YouTube, LinkedIn, I doubt most of these people are going to be going LinkedIn. That's more the professional side, but try to be on as many as I can to try to reach as many people as I can. But Instagram and TikTok are my favorite.
Awesome. And for everyone currently watching right now, I just tagged Emily at the bottom. I pinned her handle. So please go ahead and give her a follow. She's absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that you were on. Thanks again. If you want to drop off, Emily, I'm going to just finish up with some updates. If you just exit the live, I'll then be able to continue on, and then we'll connect very soon.
Awesome. Thank you and
Thanks
happy
again.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Emily was absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you're not inspired. I am inspired. I feel so good. It's crazy how like things come together. I normally just drop off after my Fueled by Faiths, but I just want to say like it is so crazy how, and you all know I'm a believer. I believe in God. It's crazy how God orchestrates things. Um, because I was telling Emily just now, like I've had so many people join this series and I don't know their background in depth. Like all I know is honestly like what I see from their grid posts, and a lot of times I really have no scope, like no real scope of like their background or what they've endured or the faith that they've had to take and step out on in order to live and pursue their passions. So I don't know. This is just like one of those like serendipitous, weird kind of moments where you're like, wow, it's all coming together. That's how I feel right now. Like it's all coming together, and just hearing her story of like being in a college class and that led her to then pursue meatless meals. I'm so inspired, and I hope that this inspires you. I have a quote that I came up with a few years back, and the quote is, after you're inspired, become an inspiration. That's one. So take what you learned tonight. Like we were all inspired by Emily. Take it and become an inspiration to someone else through your personal gifts and passions, and step out on faith. And then the other quote is, our decisions are either fueled by faith or fueled by fear or fueled by faith. And that's again another personal quote that I can't even quote myself right now. But yeah, like our every decision we make, we're either making the decision through the lens of fear or through the lens of faith. And that's what this series is all about, sharing people's stories so that you're inspired to step out on faith and pursue your passion. So I just want to thank you all. Now that we're at episode 16, I believe, of Fueled by Faith, I just really wanted to take some extra time at the end of that episode and that talk with Emily just to say, like, you guys, like, if you really have a passion, pursue it and take the risks that you need to take in order to get to where you want to go. I've given up quite a bit on a few things that I was passionate about, but I always end up coming back to it and feeling like, man, I lost so much time. Being insecure or not wanting to showcase like the perfect picture perfect like updates, right? So but now I'm just like just being authentic, and I know that it's going to render the results that I want to see and that others want to see and what people need. So I don't know, I'm like rambling right now, but I just want you all to like feel inspired. It's crazy the life that people are living, like while you're sitting in your stuff and the things that like you're growing through and learning and discovering about yourself and the world around you and your passions. Like somebody else is going through the exact same thing. The only difference between you and somebody else is whether you're taking a fear-based or faith-based decision. That's the only difference. So I feel replenished. Happy Thursday. Wishing you all a wonderful holiday season, and I'm excited to come back. I already have my next speaker for December, and I'm super excited. I think you all are really going to enjoy the next person that's up on my lineup. She posts some really like funny content, so I think it's going to be a really hilarious conversation. And again, she's stepping out on faith on a lot of the decisions she's been making. So looking forward to seeing you all back here in December, and enjoy your holidays. I'll see you soon. Check out YouTube as well if you're watching this on the replay. I'll have the video and the show notes on YouTube and on my blog, www.thetaylorisms.org, within the next 48 hours or so. So stay tuned for that. But check out my stories as well. I'm going to have some of the resources that Emily mentioned on my stories as well. So thanks again for tuning in. Love to you all. And please, please, please take your decisions and turn them into faith-based decisions and not fear-based ones.